Huh. Okay, so now it really sounds like you just like pushing and exploring like yo levels of creativity. So like where do you see yourself going with music? Like what kind of things do you see yourself doing with music in the future?
Honestly, my music, like I mean, like I ain't low key slowed down on it, but like I've been in a brain fart, so it's like I got beats in my head, but it's like too much to rumble together. Or like I make a beat and I make too many motherfucking use too many motherfucking instruments, but it sound right, but it be cluttered as fuck. So it's like I get a brain fart, or it's just like I scratch them. And like I go to
Nah, yeah,
something else. I
yeah.
scratch them and I go to something else. So like basically now, like I've been doing on the podcast shit, like I've been doing this shit, and like now I'm finna do a YouTube video once I get home. Like I'm finna start back doing my YouTubes and shit like that. Like it's other things that outside other things that I could do besides just my music.
Facts. I think that's the part that I'm loving about just exploring creativity, period, is because like it's so many different routes that you can take. I said this, me and my cousin talked about it a little bit on the episode that she did where purpose can change. You know what I'm saying? How you can do one thing and be very passionate about one thing for a specific amount of time or like a long period of time or whatever, but then other people have interests. Like I could easily see it. Like think somebody like Ice Cube, but like Queen Latifah, right? Or like even like Will Smith or something like that. Like how they can go from rapping to singing to acting to you know what I'm saying, just doing whatever. And it's just like nah, it makes sense because when you get to explore your creativity, you get to find so many different ways of like expressing yourself and channeling all of that out. And like when you surround yourself with people like that, it's just other people like constantly exploring a different lanes of creativity. Because I know even for me, like I don't always stay super inspired about the podcast. Like yeah, y'all get an episode every Friday for the last 2 years, but that don't mean that I was equally excited about all of them. Now I can have an episode and get very inspired after the fact, right? But like sometimes I will need to like pivot and do other things like write or like work on stuff for my other channel, or like I said, I do other things I don't talk about. And then I draw. Like I literally draw for a living. So you know what I'm saying? It's just like all these different creative outlets that you get to explore. And I feel like the good thing about life is that we don't have to stick ourselves to one thing, even if we feel like we have to, right? Because on the outside end, I'll be like, oh, like you're a producer, or oh, you do this, or oh, you do that, or oh, you do that. And like that's what you are. But like in reality, nobody's really confined to a box.
True.
So like, do you see yourself like doing other things in the future? So you said you want to do a podcast. Like, what are you thinking?
The podcast, man, I'm still ready. I've been ready to start that. Like I got motherfuckers lined up, ready,
So
waiting.
do you want to talk about what it's about?
Shit. So my podcast is basically, I think I'm gonna name it.
You don't have to say the name yet if you ain't dropping it.
I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it. But it's gonna be I speak. I mean, you speak. I educate. Basically, I bring a topic and I just listen to what y'all got to say. And then if y'all have any questions for me, I just give you my side of it. Basically,
Hmm.
like I'm gonna do like drug addictions and people who going through real life stuff. Bring them on the channel. I'm bringing you on the channel most definitely. I want you to be most definitely. But but I also want to do like some. But I gotta have multiple people at one time. I basically want to just throw a topic at them and smoke a blunt, and whoever got the blunt in their hand got the mic, and just see what they size. Everybody get to speak, And then if
I
they ask
definitely
me,
want to do some panels up in this one. For real.
and if they want to speak, if they want to ask me, I ain't gonna speak. I'm just if they want me to talk. That's just how it's gonna be.
A word?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want
Okay.
people to bring their story. I want them to be the voice.
Huh. Okay. I see it. I see it. I see it. Okay. So like your role, like you speak, I educate. So it sounds like, are you giving niggas therapy?
Yeah. Basically, I want to. I always wanted to do that because, and it's crazy because there's a lot of people who be reaching out to me. Like, I got friends who come to me for depression. I got motherfuckers who come to me about relationship, and like they be asking me about stuff, and I'll be giving them the good advice. But
Have you
sometimes,
ever
like,
heard of life coaching, my guy? My guy?
yeah, I don't know.
What?
I want to be a therapist, but like, I don't know. Like, I want
What?
to like just listen to people's problems and shit.
What's stopping you though? If that's what you
Nothing,
like to do,
nothing. Ain't
I've
nothing.
considered it too. Like I consider going into coaching. It actually is something that probably ain't too far off in my future. Cause like even when it comes to like podcasting and stuff like that, and like even working with people, like I've considered working with people to help them build their channels and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? As I work on my own, I'll be having people come and they want to know how to do it and stuff and like understanding the things that go into play. So you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's something that's really unrealistic. You know what I mean? Especially like what you done been in school, you already know what it's like to do it. And if you enjoy like talking to people, like helping them or whatever, like hey, it might be something to that.
My ultimate goal, honestly, is to get some money. I'm finna work on that shit. I'm finna get some money and get back to my city. And I know that may sound stupid as fuck. Why you finna get back to St. Louis? I'm trying to get these guns out these little niggas' hands and put an instrument or something in their hand.
No facts. Like I'm on
Help
the
them.
same shit.
Open up
Honestly,
a
like
building at least, something.
I'm
Do it
trying to
like
get
once a week.
niggas real shit. I feel like our city, like if it was up to me and I could do whatever, like we need a couple things in that motherfucker. We need one uh electives, like access to electives, because the schools that we came from, electives is not hidden. Like we need like bands, we need like robotics clubs, like we need like you know what I'm saying. There's so
We
much
need the
other
shit
stuff.
Texas got.
Exactly. Like we definitely need to fill the gaps. Like we need to give people access to creative outlets because like I think it's a lot of things that people could be good at, but they just were never exposed to it. You know what I mean? Like imagine if we had exposure to like you know what I'm saying, like astronomy and you know what I'm saying, like law classes and things like that, you know what I mean, like just little more things to give kids that exposure so they can tap different lanes and see that it's different routes that they can go in their life, and then also giving people access to therapy, you know what I mean, like
All
giving
schools
people,
need that.
yeah, but all people need therapy, goddamn.
Hell
Like
yeah, everybody
giving
need
people
it.
access to therapy. People act like they can't find therapists, you know, whoop de whoop wop. Like getting them that access that they need. It's a lot that we need. You know what I'm saying? It's a
I
lot that we
also,
need.
but for real, I want to go like to the thrift stores, the Goodwill, or some shit like that, and go donate clothes. Like I don't understand. St. Louis is all uniforms and shit like that, but I
Right.
ain't even trying to be disrespectful and none of that shit. And I ain't even trying to be funny. Like you don't know how a person's circumstances is, what's going on at their crib, whatever.
Right.
But I at least want to do like a clothes pantry or some shit like that to help the unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think the one thing that I want to do and that I hope I can do with like this podcast and then the things that I wind up doing outside of the podcast. I like the fact that I'm talking to a lot of people that's on the same type of time because I think soon enough we'll be able to like come together and like really put something together that can help people who are just like young versions of us. You know what I mean? Because it's just like we've been through things and like we've experienced things and we know what it's like to be on the other side. But to see where we are and where we're going now and how we're in the mindset of giving back and trying to help fill those gaps for other people, like I'm hoping that we can just, figure something out to just help keep other people from having to experience some of the shit that we had to experience, especially like if they don't have to. You know what I mean? It's just it's not necessary. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's just like everybody got this like I don't give a fuck attitude that we talked about earlier, right? This big like I don't care, like it's fuck you, type of attitude. But like imagine if we got people in a space where they actually found something that was worth actually fighting for or striving for. You know what I'm saying? They find something that they passionate about. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like more experiences like what you explained at Full Sail, right? Where it's just like people who are doing what they love and just like, you know what I'm saying, focused on that versus being focused on other things that, you know what I'm saying, further harm our communities and where we come from.
True, 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 true.
Well,
Another,
yeah. Go ahead.
what was I about to say? Another thing is like we gotta understand to these kids like what's going on in the household, but these kids don't want to talk. It be a lot that be going on in these households, like within the families, to make the
Yeah,
kids the way that they are.
absolutely, absolutely. I think we really tone is everything. That's something that I'm learning just in my process, right? Not the same approach works for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because even I have to know when to change my disposition. Like sometimes you gotta come straight at some people because that's what they need, and sometimes other people just need a little more love, compassion, and understanding. And I think sometimes when we want to get answers from people and we want to get change out of people, we got to try an approach that we ain't never tried before. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you wonder like if the kids ain't talking, are we asking the right questions? If people aren't changing, are we making the right moves? Are we going in circles, doing the same thing over and over and over again and wondering why there's no change? Like the change really has to start with the person that's willing to ask more questions, that's willing to go a little deeper.
True. I don't think a lot of people understand that.
They could, but we gotta lead by example.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Which is why we need things like what I do and things like what you're about to do. Because being able to just sit and talk about things like it's just certain things that people don't like to talk about that gotta get talked about at some point, right? Because you can't tiptoe around it forever. You know what I'm saying? If I got a 2-inch gash in my leg, do you think that not saying nothing is gonna heal it? Or do we need to go to the hospital? Like, you know what I'm saying? I think we need to go to a hospital. I remember when my ankle was broken. Trigger warning. It's a little graphic. I remember when my ankle was broken. I tried to I tried to walk that shit off like a sprain. I said, "Oh, this shit hurts. Damn, I must have really sprained it, right?" Like I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I must have really sprained this motherfucker." Until I'm laying in my bed with ice on it, and I can't lay it to the left or the right or the side or the front or the back because this motherfucker ain't hanging right. You know what I'm saying? It's only so long I could call that shit a sprain when you know that shit broke. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know that shit broke. Like, you need an X-ray, my guy. Like,
True.
you gotta call it what it is, and do what it is that you gotta do. Shit.